Check 1 2, check 1 2. I'm the Chris who plays games. Welcome to my stream. Hopefully you're all here and enjoying my lovely evening tonight. I actually have one other person I want to message and let them know that I'm gonna be here, because sometimes people don't know when I do things off schedule. They look at my stream at the start and then they're like, oh, nobody's gonna do the thing, so I don't really care, blah 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 blah. But I wanted some people to know. Hello, Maythros. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15, whatever. I feel like every Friday at 9:15. Thank you all for being here. Tonight we're going to be playing some Pinball Arcade. I was going to say Pinball Wizard, but that's the song. We're going to be playing some Pinball Arcade. I'm a little bit tipsy. I just got back from a combination burlesque show and TED Talks called Get You a Girl Who Can Do Both. And so we'll be talking about that. We'll be doing other stuff, and I hope you are here to have a good time. Let me push this button here and get me onto the streaming screen. There we go. I'm probably fine there. Hello, Yugi. Welcome to the stream. Long time no see. Good to see you. Good to see ya. What game do we want to play? I think we're going to play some, I don't know. Why did this mute itself? Did I mute it? I didn't mean to mute it. Hello, Orchaos. Hello, hello. We're going to play some Central Park. This looks like an old school electromechanical pinball game, so we'll play some of that and see how it goes. Yeah, so the electromechanical games are kind of interesting in far as technology goes. A lot of these games have very, there's no electronics behind them. There's no anything else like that. This game is interesting because it actually has a set of flippers that when you activate certain functionality on the table will actually get closer together. So you can see that there's kind of this big gap in the middle. And you may see, if I hit the right thing, that gap gets closer together. The whole thing slides, I feel like. I could be misremembering, and that's a different table. Now that I am, pushing buttons and nothing is going to happen. There is a tilt, yeah. I can absolutely tilt. You can see it like that. There you go. Got some tilt going on. Yeah, so I actually bought all of the tables. So there's, so Pinball Wizard is going to lose access to a whole bunch of tables because of some licensing bullshit. So all of the Williams and Bally tables that they've got, they're going to lose access to them. And so I went ahead and bought a whole set of about $100 worth of tables, so probably about 30 more tables. This is one of the new ones that I had not played before. I just bought 3 seasons of tables and was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy them all because I don't have to deal with answering the question of, am I going to lose access to things that I want? So here we are. You learned something unexpected about yourself, Leif. What is the unexpected thing that you learned? I want to know. I want to know your name. I want to know your name. So a special thing about me for today is that I actually, I got up on stage at a burlesque event, and I took off a part of my clothes. The part of my clothes that I took off, admittedly, was only a shoe, but I did go up and do that. Got on stage and took off my shoe. I guess I did something in Vogue land that is known as a death drop. I did it all with my eyes closed because I was super scared of audience reaction, despite, really enjoying being the center of attention. I didn't want anybody to look at me and me to find out that they weren't appreciative of what I did, but got a lot of cheers. So the event I went to this evening was called Get You a Girl That Can Do Both. Hello, Jacob. Get You a Girl That Can Do Both is an event started in Philly by Flirt Vonnegut and Honey Tree Evil Eye. And so they have been doing an event where basically they have people who are experienced in some kind of topic as well as interested in doing burlesque will get up on stage and they will give a technical talk, kind of in the style of a TEDx talk, followed by doing a striptease burlesque show. So there were 5 performers tonight, and they talked on things like the power of A/B testing, the way that humanitarian, the humanitarian refugee crises around the world happen, the progress of the understanding of human sexuality and the Kinsey scale and other things like that, as well as the libraries, public libraries, and one other one that I'm now forgetting off the top of my head. But so they got up there and gave talks on these technical topics, wearing clothes. And then in the latter half of the show, they decided to take their, they took their clothes off. That was the thing that goes. I am in a room. Yeah, I had to shift out of the room upstairs as my daughter came back from, yeah, so I had to switch. My daughter moved back from California, and so she lives with us again. And so my office has become her bedroom, and my streaming room was in my office before. So now I am in the living room, and so I have a whole bunch of books behind me, and yeah. So we are playing a Doctor Who based table. This table is a bit older. This is before the new Who. And so we are playing in Doctor Who land now. We moved out of the Central Park table. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. And so there were two different audience participation components of this. One was like come up and give a 60-second talk as a performer. Something that I did raise my hand for. I was going to talk about Upgrade Cambridge and municipal broadband, but unfortunately I was not selected for that, but I was selected in the latter half of the show for the audience participation, and I came up there, and the component of audience participation was, you know, you need to find the most sensual way to take off a shoe. So I came up on stage and I took off a shoe and so on and so forth. Tell her you said hi. I will tell her that you said hi. I unfortunately lost that round. That was very quick, but you have a stress response triggered by the music that plays during the false ending of Steins Gate. Is that because you've played it so many times, or is there a particular thing that music associates with that is causing you to be triggered? So yeah, so the reason that I knew about the show at all is that one of the co-producers of the show was someone who I've run into from a couple of different shows here in Boston. She was a performer as Eddie Riot in the Star Trek show that I saw last year. And after I wrote up my review of the show, she actually invited me whenever I wanted to. She told me that she would offer me a free ticket to her monthly burlesque show, which is called Smoke and Shadows here, burlesque and variety show. And so I've been following her for a while now, and when she announced she was doing this combination TED Talks, or really more like Ignite Talks. So if you've ever heard of Ignite, it's an O'Reilly sponsored thing where people give 5-minute talks about various topics. So they were doing an Ignite Talks followed by burlesque acts, and I was like, that sounds like something I would want to see. Of course, I told Jess about it, and she was like, you are fucking crazy. How am I drunk? I was, well, I was at this burlesque show, and of course burlesque shows are held at least here, the burlesque shows that I go to are held in places with bars, because, you know, the way you make money off of burlesque shows is to sell alcohol. And so I've already had three nice rye drinks. I was drinking the one of the signature drinks of the evening, based on Josephine Baker, another girl who can do both, who was a burlesque dancer in the 1920s, as well as, I don't know what else she did off the top of my head. So, and my daughter is Alicia, or Allie. Anyway, yeah, so I was out at the burlesque show drinking and having fun, having a couple of laughs, as they might have said if I was a performer in Chicago. Oh god! I guess I need to jump over these items. Oh, I didn't do so well. So this is a game that obviously is from the 1990s. So in the 1990s, they switched these in the top left corner, you'll see the display. And so these video modes in certain games is an aspect of 1990s pinball tables. You'll see that in Creature from the Black Lagoon. You'll see that in this Doctor Who game, as well as things like that. The New Who was actually a series that started in 2005. And so that series started with Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor, the 9th Doctor in the Doctor Who series. So the Doctor Who series has been going on since 1960s, 1950s on the BBC. So they've been doing things for a long time. It's been around long enough, actually, that they have actually lost some of the tapes of the early radio broadcasts of Doctor Who. I'm going to open up another beer here. This is going to be the Hogarden, a wheat beer. It's pretty non-offensive and easy to drink. So I grabbed one of those out of the fridge. And of course, I've got my Mount Washington bottle opener that I keep magnetically attached to my desktop right here. So, anywho, yeah, so it's really cool to go to a show that had components of both burlesque and, you know, something other than that. It's definitely the case that you know, going to these shows and following these performers on Facebook, it's been very clear that they have lives outside of their burlesque lives. In fact, the common way of referring to this is that you have your stage name. So Elsa Riot and Saketumi and I guess Sherman is just Sherman in all cases, but Dandy Sherman and so on and so forth. And then you have what people refer to as your Muggle name. So I don't know the Muggle names of several of the performers that I follow. Their real life personas are very separate from their personas as performers, as burlesque performers. So you know, if I was to look at that from my perspective, you know, I would be looking at being, you know, I could be Princess CPG, separate from my Christopher Schmidt persona. One of the performers at the show tonight did explicitly say that her, you know, explicitly acknowledge her, you know, status. So she is a professor in Philadelphia on human sexuality. And so Timmery Schmidt was one of the co-producers of the show and came out from Philly. Yeah, so it's a reference to Harry Potter. The idea of having kind of two separate personas, one for your work life and one for your, you know, not work life, is one that's pulled from Harry Potter and kind of comments or comes back to, you know, hiding your, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, burlesque is a sexual art, and a lot of people have problems with sexual activity outside of work and being associated with that. So, same basic idea, is the, you know, burlesque performers sometimes have to hide their real identity from their peers in real life. But yeah, so Flirt Vonnegut and Honey Tree Evil Eye, something like that, were the two performers that came out from Philly to Boston to help host the show. Co-produced it with Elsa Riot, who's one of the performers that I saw in the Star Trek Burlesque show last year, and saw her show Smoke and Shadows back in March when I was not streaming, and did a really good variety show combined with burlesque, so comedy, spoken word, and music. So brought in a rap performer as well as burlesque performers, put it all together, and kind of brought that out for people to come and see. And so she does that show every month, and yeah. Nope, it's not the Switch. It's the PC version of Pinball Arcade. I bought a whole bunch of tables that I did not have before as a result of Pinball Arcade announcing they were going to be switching away. So they were no longer going to be able to host some of the Williams and Bally tables. And so I bought a whole bunch of them. And so here we are. I love pinball. Pinball's fun. Alright, we got a ball locked. This one, I feel like the music from this one is very, actually, and I don't know how loud this is very similar to Taxi, which feels like another thing from the same era. You got these kind of like 5 people in the middle, as I'm pointing to the screen that you can't see, but these 5 characters in the middle that you have to interact with, as well as the way the bonuses is and everything else like that. Feels like this is almost certainly from some of the same designers and developers of pinball tables as Taxi. Yeah, so I went ahead and bought like the first, I think I bought all of them. I think I already owned about 20 of them, and I bought the other 40 of them because I bought the first 4 seasons of tables in the game. Yeah, so if we look at the history, we'll look at the table history on this. Extras, table history. Has all the sights and sounds and frills and flash of a real diner incorporated into fantastic features for incredible appeal and game flow. It's another game from Mark Ritchie, designer of classics such as Taxi, like I said. Yeah, so this is about serving people in a diner. Taxi is a table that I already had, so we can go ahead and play that. Hello, Lady Kitty Unicorn, Natty, System Freeze, and Mike the Enigma. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15, whatever I feel like at Friday at 9:15. Tonight we're playing some Pinball Arcade, and talking a little bit about the burlesque show that I just got back from. Thank you very much for that raid, System Freeze, Lateralist 4 Degrees, and everyone else who came in from here, Mr. Rhinosaur, and so on. So this one I've played a lot more, and I know this game a little bit better. Oh, I didn't quite get the 100,000 there, but this is going to go through that cab up at the top. And so this is a table I know better. In Taxi, your goal is to pick up these 5 passengers. So you can see in the upper right corner, you've got Gorbachev, of course, back from the 1980s and 90s, before the fall of the Soviet Union. So we'll pick up Gorbachev there. And then on the far right side, you'll see that we have... I don't remember if that's Lola or Pinball or whatever that I have to get in and pick up, as well as Dracula and Santa Claus all need to be picked up in this taxi ride. The loops around are airport trips, and you basically kind of run your score up as you do it. So there's actually a constant ticker, if you look in the upper right, that will be constantly increasing. And that's kind of meant to indicate my distance traveled. Crap, I didn't get my bonus there. Oh, shit. Every time your ball drains, you do lose the passengers you've picked up, unless you pick up the hold passengers bonus during your rounds. So you can see there's the airport ride ball around the loop. As a Pinball in the upper left. Thanks for subscribing, Natty. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have all of you here. Yeah, so I'm the Chris who plays games. I work at Google. My opinions are my own and not those of my employer. And I am actually just recently changed teams. I used to work for YouTube, and I just recently changed teams to work for the open source team at Google. So I work on helping Googlers open source software, as well as helping Googlers use open source software more effectively. Okay, we'll raise that jackpot in case we ever get to the jackpot, which we probably will not, because I'm a little bit tipsy and I'm not all that good at things. Okay, so now we've got 2 balls going here. Loop these airport rides around. Oh, and I lost my ball. Okay, so no jackpots for me. There we go. Picked up Pinbot on that right-hand side. Yeah, I started the new job about a week and a half ago. I actually just got back. So the reason I did not stream on Monday this week was because I actually was in Mountain View. I was in Mountain View meeting the new team. My new team is distributed, so we have people in 5 different people on my team in 5 different offices. But there is the overall org that I work as part of is based in Mountain View. So I got to meet my new director. I got to meet other people I'll be working with in the open source outreach team and the compliance team, so the lawyers who work there, and so on and so forth. Come on, give me a thing. Mr. Rhinosaur, thank you very much for subscribing. Happy to have you here. Yeah, so I was out there meeting that new team. Oh, fuck, I didn't get the, oh, man, damn it. Alright. We'll do a hat spin and see if that improves our skill. Yeah, 200 characters can be hard when you're describing an emotional scene in a very important game to you. Oh, just 1,000. So that's the thing about pulling the trigger back as far as possible there, is that you do not maximize your point totals if you do that. So you gotta be conscientious in how you use your plunger. There we go. So yeah, started on a new team. I got to meet people in person. You know, we decided on what we're going to be working on for the next quarter. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited. Looking forward to working with folks. Looking forward to being back in the open source world, which I was in for a long time, but have not been in for quite a while. So it's kind of interesting to go back to... Excuse me. Oh, shit. It was kind of interesting to go back to open source because, you know, I did it for, I don't know, six years before I kind of got sucked into the technology stuff. But I will be back to working with developers. I will be back to working more closely directly with users. So one of the challenges at YouTube is, of course, that with 1.5 billion users and everyone being a YouTube user, finding ways to interact meaningfully is really challenging, especially when you're a developer trying to work on software side. And now I really have a role of trying to make the jobs of developers both inside Google and outside Google working with Google products easier. And so that's really an exciting possibility for me. Another thing that I love doing is looking at data, and Google is, you know, a host of actually all of the public data on GitHub is mirrored and kind of tracked in a big database that you can query at Google. So learning about that and starting to play with that so I can look at, you know, how many people from with Microsoft.com email addresses are contributing to open source? How many people with, you know, are contributing to different repositories? How many people are doing X, Y, or Z? Is really an interesting question, and now I can look at that more meaningfully. And of course, I can work with some of my coworkers to help them open source things more effectively. So I have open source things myself. If you look at livestreamalerts.com, that website that popped up those subscriber notifications, that's open source. It's on GitHub under the codename Mirandum, and anyone can go out there and clone that and run that themselves. I got the Lola tip and got that ball locked, so that's great. And so I'm really excited about being able to move into that space. And another big thing is that, you know, I don't have to deal with some of the the drama around YouTube. You know, YouTube has become a platform for expression that's super and is extremely important to so many billions of people. But it means that it's always a challenge when you want to make changes or you want to do anything, that you've always got people who are upset one way or another about this. Anyway, yeah, so what did I learn about? Today I learned about, but yeah, so I was in Mountain View earlier this week. I was there Monday through Thursday, met up with some of my old coworkers and kind of said goodbye, which I had not really done before this, at in San Bruno at YouTube on Thursday, and then flew back to Boston, and here we sit like birds in the wilderness. Flew back red eye last night. Okay, so earlier I was talking about these flippers that got closer together. This is actually the table I was thinking of. So this is Fireball. The big thing about Fireball, there's two kind of unique things about Fireball. One is you can see that component in the middle of the table that's constantly spinning. So anytime my ball rolls over that, it's going to kind of go off in a random direction, or the direction of it's going to change. You can see they're kind of just shot down in the middle. The other thing about it is that those flippers can get closer together, as you see there. Now my flippers are together, and so there's kind of no center drain in that case. This the other thing about this is that it is a 5-ball table. My experience within Pinball Arcade is that older games tended to have higher total ball counts. They didn't always tend to have the ability for you to do multi-ball, but they would have higher total balls, so you would have up to 5 balls that you would go through rather than just 3, which is the more typical for modern pinball games. So this is one of those games. The component in the middle there is kind of unique. The other table I've seen something similar, is that when you're in the pre-multi-ball stage, No Good Gophers has a similar thing. So we can actually play that table after this. Another one of my favorite tables, and is one of the better selling pinball tables out there, is No Good Gophers. Considered one of the best pinball tables. I think there's two pinball tables that are considered, that I think of within the Pinball Arcade family as being kind of highly respected. One of them, of course, is the Addams Family. The Addams Family was the highest selling pinball table of all time. They sold about 26,000 tables. And keep in mind, when you sell these things, they're not exact copies. Each of these things is done by hand by someone, you know, going and wiring, you know, wire around wraps and everything else like that. So that's Black Hole. Black Hole is another one. I don't actually enjoy Black Hole as much. It's not really as much fun for me as a table. It's definitely an interesting component, and that's definitely one of the ones out there that I really enjoy in theory, but in practice, I don't really enjoy that inlaid table. It's not that much fun. And I've actually played that one in person as well, and I felt the same way. Like, getting into that underlaid table, because it's still, like, it's under glass in the middle of the table, you kind of can't see it very well. And other than that, the table doesn't have a lot of, like, interesting things going for it. So, but it is another one out there. Yeah, well, so Addams Family, like I said, because it's the best-selling pinball table of all time, it is definitely a table that a lot of people are aware of and have run into in their, you know, pinball experiences. And it also has really strong visual elements. And so if we go out to, we'll go to Addams Family, and we'll do No Good Gophers after that. So a lot of people will recognize the the bookcase and thing and everything else like that. Yeah, Airbending Eagle's right. It is black hole. I hope I said that. We'll see if we can get thing to come out here. I gotta actually do the right thing. Quick multi-ball. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll capture this ball here and cradle it. And then we'll try and get it up to thing. We failed. This should bounce off the flipper and across. Yes. So one of the problems with playing pinball on real tables, as opposed to the digital version, is that each table is going to have a different set of quirks about it. So in the table, we actually own this table in the Google office that I work out of. And the version in the Google office does not actually, when it does the kick out from the electric chair, it will not actually bounce across. And so if you don't push anything, it will actually just drain. So I have learned enough about the Pinball Arcade version of this table to know some of these things that are there. In the same way you could learn a physical table. So I've learned a lot of these things about my physical table as well when I'm playing these games. So that's the spirit thing. Lend a hand. Yeah. So the easiest way to get things to come out is actually to land a skill shot, which looks like that. So the thing now is going to come out. It's a magnetic ball, grabs onto the ball, and pulls it back in. An interesting thing about these tables, so all of these tables have a lot of like different dip switches and configuration options that you can actually pull out and fuck around with. And so, oh fuck, I lost that multi-ball like right away. That sucks. And so this particular table has an option that if your thing is having problems, you can actually turn off thing. So the table at my work at the moment, because the magnet on thing was misbehaving, thing doesn't actually come out and do anything anymore. And so, yeah, it's just an interesting fact about these things is they have a lot of different configuration options, and you know the God mode of them has different things that you can change, and they change a little bit of the gameplay, but they're really designed for the idea that maintenance of a pinball table is hard. It really just is a difficult thing to do well, and so you want to add as many options as you can to support the physical limitations of maintaining a pinball table. I'm currently trying to get a ball either into the swamp or into the vault, like that. So the other thing, like, for example, in our table at work currently, it's actually very difficult to land the vault shot because the bookcase is a little bit loose. And so when you shoot a ball at the bookcase, it ends up bouncing off of the bookcase often. God damn it. So the other interesting thing about this table is that when the power, that middle light, is on, there's actually a rotating magnet that is interactively, it's electromagnet that it's intermittently activating, which causes the ball to do similar to that ball in the middle, that table in the middle, that circular thing in the middle of Fireball, and cause the ball to shoot off in a random direction. So same basic idea, but you can't actually see it rotating at all, and it's intermittent rather than always. Oh, that's fucking shitty. I hate when things drain without any ability to have any influence on it. That really sucks. So we'll put in about 3 1/4 here, aiming for that skill shot. There we go. It's 2 million points, as well as the ability to shoot up into the million-plus ramp. We'll go ahead and hit that bookcase a couple times to highlight greed. The greed sensor is actually like just like a visual sensor, so it detects that ball running into it. It's not physical. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Oh, right. So the other thing is that, and this is something they actually fixed in the deluxe version of this, is, wow, that was nice. Look at that. 3 bookcase balls in a row. It's pretty awesome. So the other thing about this table is that once you've sunk a ball into the bookcase or into the swamp for multi-ball, it will actually stay there and will not come back out when you end your turn. And so when I started this turn, rather than the sinking, you know, restarting by launching a new ball, it actually took into account that I already had a ball sunk into the the like under the table area. And as a result, it went, you know, prepare for swamp kickouts. So those swamp kickouts that I ended up with are the result of already having a ball underneath the table. And so it had to keep track of that information across the plays. Because obviously your ball, if your ball's under the table and you can't do that, then that's a problem. In the later version of this, basically there's a software patch to the same table, the gold version. They would actually kick out all of the balls at the end of the turn. So that's actually one of the things you can pay for. Is it's an extra $3 to buy the gold premium version of this table that has that physical support. So it knows at the end of the turn if you've got balls locked for multi-ball, and it will go ahead and it will release them so that every person who starts is starting with the exact same setup. That's something you don't get if you are playing on the initial version. So Pro, there you go. So I think it was called the gold, like the gold version was the gold version was the physical version, and the Pro version is the Pinball Arcade version. That's right. Not bad, Down Phoenix. As I was saying, I just got back from a combination burlesque show and series of Ignite talks here at a local theater in Boston. So I got to hear Ignite talks on humanitarian aid and how the humanitarian crisis has changed over the past decade, both in the U.S. but primarily worldwide. I got to hear about how public libraries are reshaping the world. I got to hear a talk about you know, the A/B testing. And then from each of those speakers, I got to see them do a burlesque/strip show. So it's really, really interesting and exciting to be able to do that here. It's a show called Get You a Girl Who Can Do Both that started in Philadelphia and has continued here in Boston. I was offered the opportunity to come up on stage, and I was able to participate in the burlesque act by sensually removing a shoe. So I got up there and was able to, you know, go through a whole little burlesque act of my own, taking off a shoe. What I did not actually remember was that some people commented me on my socks after the show, and I was like, I had forgotten that I'm actually wearing my Google socks. So I got Google socks when I gave blood at one point, and so those were the socks that I was wearing tonight. I guess I should have gotten up on stage and said my opinions are my own and not those of my employer, but thankfully I said no words in this process, so I don't think I will be in too much trouble with HR. Okay, extra ball is lit. Let's go ahead and pull that extra ball out of there. But yeah, so other things the gold table changes is that basically there are hidden bonuses for landing mansion rooms. So every time you start a game, the mansion rooms are given hidden rewards. And so if you hit a certain mansion room, in addition, for example, getting 3 million points, you might also get, you know, Cousin It's Hair, and it will give you an extra 20 million points. So. But yeah, so I was able to, oh god, my mouse. Come back, mouse. Actually, I don't need my mouse. I have this thing. That's what this thing exists for. So you can see my Google socks here have the Google colors, and there is actually a G on the front there because I have Google socks. So, ugh. Anyway. Yeah, so I got up on stage and did my little burlesque act. I actually said, I did the whole thing with my eyes closed because I didn't want to know if people were kind of laughing at me. But I got a lot of claps and cheers. But one thing I said, you know, that I'm gonna have to add to my future technical presentations is that, you know, if you like what I'm doing, you should clap while I'm doing it. So this is very much an aspect of burlesque, is that you are supposed to clap during the presentation. If you see something you like, you know, you're supposed to kind of clap and be excited and cheer and everything else like that. But you know, I was commenting that in my talks, whether it's been at O'Reilly Talks in 2006, or whether it's been at Phosphor G from 2006 to 2012, or whether it's been at anything else like that, I've never really gotten people who cheer for me while I am presenting. And it definitely, I'm like, man, I gotta pull this shit off, because this is definitely like having all these people cheer for you while you're doing a technical presentation definitely changes the tone of it. So they actually, during the first half of the show, they actually invited people to come up on stage and give a 1-minute presentation, which is really hard. Giving a 1-minute presentation, I mean, as the person who does CPG rants and knows how hard that is, was definitely a thing that I don't think that I could have done very well. I did offer, they did not call on me for that. I was going to present on, you know, municipal broadband, but give it a shot. But yeah, so some people came up, and one person is a therapist and gave a talk on trauma in the brain. One person gave a talk on the test first methodology of unit testing, and one person gave a talk on forks and their evolution from, you know, Britain, where, you know, of course, utensils started with spoons and forks, and now we've got this weird thing where we use forks, which are kind of for stabbing, but also for scooping, which is not a thing that existed in the past. And so she got up there and talked about it, and she ran out of time, and she needed like an additional 30 seconds. But with a 1-minute time frame, that's all you get, you know, then you're at the end of it. 94 million is not bad. I think I've got to shoot again, so I've got one more ball coming. That is the quote from Gomez that he actually has when he hits a golf ball into his neighbor's, I think, window. Keep the ball, I have a whole bucket full. Oh, fuck! Drained right away. God damn. So yeah, so I got up, took off my shoe on stage, but the three presenters who got up on stage and tried to present, a lot of bravery involved in that as well. So I was talking to Elsa Riot, who is the local producer of the show, and someone who I've seen at Smoke and Shadows here in Davis Square in Somerville, as well as at the Star Trek Final Frontiers show as Eddie Riot, performing a burlesque act based on Data, back last year. And I talked to her before the show, and I said, so are you like past the nervousness? Are you in the nervousness? Like, how are things going? And she's like, you know, like from last night until now, I was like totally not nervous, and now like in the last 5 minutes, I'm back to the nervous level, because, you know, and it was not the burlesque stuff that is the issue, but instead the giving a TED Talk aspect of that. So, you know, or rather giving a Pechakucha style Ignite talk. So, yeah, I did talk to her, and as far as I could tell, it was not my fault specifically, but it was definitely that. Brad Pritchard, welcome to the stream. Happy to see you here. But yeah, so tons of fun at the show. I do feel a little bit bad because it was not nearly as full as the Star Trek show that I saw last year. So I hope she, you know, covers her nut on you know, paying the theater and everything else like that. I threw in my bit both in drinks and in tipping the performers. So hopefully I did okay there. I wasn't, Brad. I wasn't. So the thing with these burlesque shows is I never know how long they're gonna go, but I really should learn that it's really pretty much a 2-hour thing, and then we're done. So there's that thing. That's the spirit thing. Lend a hand. So we're gonna get another prepare for swamp kickout. So that prepare for swamp kickout is the sign that the table has no more balls in the lane that it can use to fill the plunger. So that's why you get those swamp kickouts rather than the the traditional kickout from the plunger, is because there are balls under the table that I can't get to. No sexy green characters in the shows that I saw. So the Star Trek show had Data, had 7 of 9, had Beverly? Yeah, I think Beverly had a sex scene at one point, right? Had Captain Kirk, of course. Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? To love the mountain. Envelop the mountain. There was no Vulcan love slave as far as I remember. But anyway, this is not the Star Trek night. No, tonight was the combination TED Talk and burlesque night. So, as I was saying, we heard from a librarian. We heard from someone who does humanitarian refugee support in countries around the world. So she works very closely with UNHCR to help humanitarians, and got up on stage and told us about the humanitarian crisis. We had someone who talked about public libraries and how they are really trying to cross borders and reach out to a broad range of communities. We had someone who came up and talked about the history of the study of human sexuality, and so, you know, got up, and the first question she asked on stage is, when was heterosexuality invented? There we go. I just barely nailed that thing multi-ball. So nice thing about these thing multi-balls is actually that they've got a countdown. It's a 20-second countdown. Once you drain multi-ball without hitting a jackpot, before thing multi-ball will age. But they actually give you like an extra 2 seconds. And so I took advantage of those extra 2 seconds, and we will go ahead and get the double jackpot. There we go. So that's awesome. So that's going to give me 24 million points. Unfortunately, I drained that ball, so there's no super jackpot. I did not land in the vault, unfortunately. 1868. 1868 is when the term heterosexuality and homosexuality were invented. They did not exist before that. And so, yeah. And then we talked a little bit about Kinsey and other things like that. And I got up on stage and performed my little, so they invited people to raise their hands and didn't tell them what they were going to do. So they did this in both halves of the show. 3 people come up, volunteers on stage, and one ended up being, you have a 60 seconds to present whatever topic you want. So give a 60-second talk. And the other one was, you have, do the most sensual removal of a sock that you can. So I went up there, or a shoe, sorry, not a sock, a shoe. So I got up there and I did a sensual act of removing my shoe, and I got several people who came up to me afterwards and said, congratulations on your sexy shoe removal. You know, I commented that as someone who always loves being the center of attention, this was not a real problem for me. So, it does bring it back to, though, like I have been asking myself for the past years since I saw the Star Trek show, whether I would want to do burlesque, and I still have that question. The biggest problem with that is that Jess finds the entire idea of burlesque entirely problematic and upsetting. So yeah, so Star Trek puts asses in seats. The next Star Trek show at the Oberon is actually going to be in August. Saki Toomey, who produced the Final Frontiers last year, is going to be producing Deep Space Fine. The thing she's been commenting on is that Will Wheaton thinks it is awesome that this exists. So he heard of the show because someone mentioned it, the last show to him, as well as this upcoming one, Deep Space Fine, in August at the Oberon. So if you are in the Boston area, consider attending Deep Space Fine, August at the Oberon. I will probably be there. And then the other thing that I need to do is I think I may need to just cancel my Monday streams on the first Monday of every month. I think by policy I may have to, or not cancel, start late. And I will have to go to Smoke and Shadows, because Elsa just produces such a great show. She finds great acts who are doing music and burlesque and everything else like that all across Boston, and really does a great show, and I really enjoy her work. So but she does a show every Monday that is an awesome burlesque show. So we're really on the ball. All right, I really want to sink this ball in that. There we go. Sunk it in the electric show. Has to warm up. So it can kill you. And then the burlesque, I was amused. So the person who did the presentation on libraries, I think, also got up there. Yes, Dewey Decimal. She got up there, and she her burlesque act was she was dressed up as a can of Bush's baked beans. So that was how she did. It's true, they didn't get Wednesday to voice any lines for the table, so maybe that was a licensing issue or something like that. So, god damn it! All right, this is going to be my last round on this table. After this, we will go and play some No Good Gophers, the other table that has the rotating component in the middle of the playfield. So yeah, I will probably be doing a write-up on my Facebook page, not Chris Plays Games, but my personal Facebook page about the show, and I'll probably talk about that briefly on Monday. But those of you who are here right now are going to get more of my drunken ramblings about this, so... I'm not on... Oh, yeah, I'm on ball 2. But the reality is that what I've learned is when I get above 100 million, I'm in trouble. Oh, did you see that? So the flippers did a little, like, flip thing. I don't know what causes that, but occasionally when you finish ball 2, they will go ahead and do that. So that's now I'm not. That is correct. Oh, I didn't get it up there? All right, let's go ahead and get a train wreck out of this. Oh, and it drains. And it drains, and that's the end of the table. Yeah, so I played this table more than anything else. I played this table. My highest score on this table, I think, is about 496 million, which was on the mobile version, I think, unless my high score on this table here is higher. We can look at that briefly and figure it out. Oh, no, we're not. Forget it. We're going to go on to No Good Gophers. We're going to move on quick so we don't get a copyright content ID claim from Pinball Wizard here. No Good Gophers starts with an N. LMNNNOP. There we go. I can't read any of these table names. Yeah, so this is another one of those really popular tables overall. It has what is referred to as one of the hardest or one of the most interesting shots in pinball, which is to kind of get up. That metal ramp in the middle drops down, and then there is a hole-in-one shot in the upper right corner behind the red blocker there. So lower the thing and then land on that. The difficulty there is that entire top there is just a glass tabletop, and so it's very slick to kind of slide across it. This is another one that I played in person back before Pinball Wizard, our local... I missed. Our local pinball arcade here in the Boston area shut down back in 2014 as I went up to Pinball Arcade and played up there. So this one is kind of based loosely on the idea of, you know, maybe not Caddyshack specifically, but it's a golf-based table and you got talking gophers and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Alright, so if you have any opinions on what retro game I should be playing on Monday, I would be happy to pay attention to it. If you want to hear more about, I guess I've basically talked myself out of the... Oh, there we go! I got the one-in-one shot! A hole-in-one shot! Wasn't even trying for it. Not bad. Get that $1 million shot there. That's right. Got that donger. So you can see the, so I'm not in multi-ball mode yet, but you can see that ball in the middle there. And I think it's going to be just, yeah, so you can see now it's just constantly spinning. Oh, no, I guess it stopped. But yeah, so that is something that makes some of this a little bit difficult. I went ahead and hit the extra ball. Man, this is a good run for me. Shoot left ramp for 3.5 million. So I think I'll be in multi-ball mode now. Yep, there's that multi-ball. Ah! My controller fucked up. I can't drive with a putter. That says you. You have selected power drive. Okay, shoot putting green. So yeah, so this is why this game reminds me a little bit of Fireball, is because of that rotating bit in the middle. And so this game does not have a video pinball mode specifically like some other games do, but does take serious advantage of its, you know, multifunction display in that upper left corner that you can see in the upper left corner. Obviously, in a real pinball table, that would be above the table. So I don't know if I've ever played Whirlwind, so I'm not forgetting so much as I am completely unaware of it. So Airbending Eagle has the pinball knowledge here. Went ahead and sunk that in the water hazard. That's going to flop out, and yeah. But yeah, so I went out to Mountain View, like I said, this week to meet my new team. My new team is distributed. We have one person at LA, one person in DC, one person in San Francisco, and one person in Mountain View, as well as me in Cambridge, which is really nice. I've had a remote manager for the entire 4 years that I've worked at Google, but I think it's a little bit different when your manager is remote and manages one, you know, like half and half versus a manager who's remote and we have, you know, a team that's entirely distributed. Wow, 2 extra balls. Like I said, I'm just nailing this whole round. I'm just, you know, bringing it home. But the nice thing is that, like, the broader team that we work with is all based in Mountain View. Oh, another hole-in-one. Look at that. Cheers to me. This is Robinson. Hello, Alex Burks. And, so yeah, so what's the thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, so it was nice to meet my director, my manager, and other people that I will work with. It was also interesting to look at. So one of the things that I had not realized was how much not being well known was going to be an emotional shift for me. So when I worked at YouTube, I had gotten to the point where pretty much everyone who met me was like, "Oh, you're C.R. Schmidt. You're that Chris." And now that I'm in a new team, no one knows who the fuck I am anymore. And I knew that was going to happen. Like, I knew that I had built up a reputation within YouTube, but I had failed to remember how much that reputation was specific not to Google, but instead to all, like, just to YouTube. And so that was interesting to me, was to come around and realize, like, oh shit, nobody knows who I am anymore. And I'm gonna have to, like, rebuild all this reputation, blah blah blah. On the plus side, so the new team is also interesting because I went from being, you know, in the top half of people who'd been employed in this team. In fact, I had been at Google for longer than 60% of the people under my director, and now that number has changed to 30%. Because the director I work under now has been at Google for forever. So he, like, worked at SourceForge and stuff like that, like, back in 2002, and joined Google back in 2004, and has kind of built up this whole team and a collective of people who are like-minded and thoughtful and doing this open source stuff, but, like, have a lot of tenure. And so I'm, like, the low man on the totem pole. I'm actually, in my little team under my manager, I have been at Google less time than anyone else who is on the team. Whereas in my previous team, I was there longer than, you know, 75% or so of the team that I worked with. So that was really it's an interesting thing to realize that I'm going to have to transition. In addition to just knowing me more, is also going to have to be, realizing that all these people have been here a really long time, so. But yeah, so it's good to go out. We kind of built up our list of things that we're going to do for the next quarter. I like my my, like, 7-stroke shot on hole 3 there. I'm still on my first round of no good gophers. This is like my 4th extra ball, I feel like. Go ahead and hit that No, that ball, the spinning bit in the middle just sunk my ball right down the middle. And I'm also excited because we work so closely with the open source outreach team that I will be able to kind of work with them much more directly, which is great for, which is great for me because outreach has been such a key part of what I've enjoyed doing across, I mean, frankly, every company I've worked for. I did it when I was at Metacarta. I did it somewhat at Nokia, although less officially. And then I did it when I started working for YouTube. And it turned out that that didn't end up working really well at YouTube, but in the open source team, I think it's going to work really well. And I'm going to be advocating to developers who I am much better at speaking to, which is great. So I'm really excited about pretty much everything. So, hey, I reached the hole-in-one challenge and got an award, so that's great. I usually stream until at 1:15. Frankly, tonight I'm going to stream until whenever the fuck I feel like it, which might be earlier or it might be later, depending on how drunk I get. So, I guess getting through the first 9 holes here definitely puts you into a mode with a lot of different things, because I was just told like 6 different things I'm supposed to be aiming for, so. And I've got 4 balls in play, which is a lot. So that was one of the things that could really change with the automated plungers, is that with automated plungers you can kind of send additional balls even into a multi-ball phase, which is something you really couldn't do with Adam's Family, because, you know, someone would have to like reach over and pull the plunger, which is really kind of getting in the way of their gameplay. Well, take care, Jacob. I hope you have a lovely night. This is definitely going to be a new score for me on high score for me on this table, at least on PC. Thank you very much. Oh, no kickback. We do have another extra ball coming, though. Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Chippendale when you're in danger. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. All right. Oh, I still got another extra ball. Good God. Oh, I'm still on ball 2. Holy shit. I feel like I've been playing on the second ball of this like round for like 15 minutes. Oh, good God. Luckily, I'm draining balls very quickly, so this round will end very quickly at this point. Yes, the only thing I'm sad about is that the show tonight did not sell out, as far as I can tell. There were definitely empty seats in the auditorium, and it's kind of sad, and because it makes me think that the show probably won't be repeated, and I would love to see another one of these. I mean, frankly, I'd love to perform at one. I would love to come up and do a I would do a 5-minute, you know, Ignite Boston talk followed by a burlesque show. That would be a thing I would do. CPG, grand champion of this table. Cheers, clink. I'll have to check with Elsa if there is video of my sock striptease. Yeah, see, 13 million higher than my previous high score, so not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, so what was the other one you said? Whirlwind is the other one that I should keep an eye out for that has... Maybe I don't have. Yeah, it looks like I don't... It looks like that's not a... Oh, it's right here. Duh, I can't read. Sorry. I like the on the Mac they actually have a very different client, which makes them easier to read. So this Williams machine, Pat Law. Oh, I love Pat Lawler. The designer of such classic families. Addams Family and Twilight Zone delivered yet another great pinball table. You're engulfed in a storm chaser's fantasy. Feel the power of the wind. It blows wind in your face with a special fan once the storms begin. Spinning discs, cellar holes, drop targets, add additional features. 7,300 tables. So yeah, just for context, the Addams Family table I think had 26,000 units produced, which is just crazy high compared to all these other things. You see these things that are like 3,000 tables produced. So I do not know if Heidi knows about this. So Heidi is a former coworker of mine who is a storm chaser. So she does the, you know, go out to the Midwest in the middle of summer and look for tornadoes type of thing. Ah! Funhouse is good. I don't know. I can never make the... So the problem with Funhouse is that, you know, there's basically, like, you go through and after it gets to be, like, 11:30 or 12 o'clock or whatever, you're, like, everything else kind of shuts down. And then you have to... hit it into Chucky's mouth or something like that in order to get the next stage of it. And I always get stuck in that state where not a lot of what you do actually has an effect on the table. And Rudy, and then you have to hit it into Rudy's mouth. And that's frustrating to me. It's that, like, it's 11:45 and Rudy's asleep and nothing else really matters what you do except shitting into his mouth. And if you can't make that shot, it feels a bit icky. So I don't know. That was eventually when I was playing on mobile, I actually did get good enough that I routinely hit those shots and moved on. But there's kind of like an intermediate difficulty level there that it's hard to get past. So that was my experience. I mean, that's just my personal position on this. I did actually, so at the YouTube wide kind of event that we had, they actually had a bunch of different tables that I'd never seen before, and they weren't all that interesting on their own, but I got to play more physical pinball tables. They had like 6 different physical pinball tables, none of which were ones that I had seen in pinball arcades. So it was fun to play some different. I don't think I played all of them. I think I played like 4 of the 6 they had, something like that. Oh no! Rained. Rained! Ugh. Even worse than last time. Let's go ahead and try and do this a little bit softer and see if we can land something. No? No skill shots or anything for me to land here. Oh, drained! God damn. Lower jets on. Alright, let's go ahead and hold this, and we'll try and hit it into... Oh, we missed. Alright. Ah! Okay, we're good. All good. I was going to lose it down the middle, but I did not. Storm is coming! Return to your homes! The biggest problem I have with Medieval Madness is I think specific to the... digital version, because I didn't have the same problem on the physical version. The Pinball Arcade version feels like it moves very quickly, and so I don't really enjoy it because everything falls down really, really quick. Million is lit. There we go. Oh, that wasn't the million shot? Looked like the million shot. So yeah, I think the biggest problem I have with Medieval Madness is it moves very quickly, more quickly than the physical version did when I tried it. and I don't enjoy it in Pinball Arcade very much for that reason. So should you try reinstalling Windows on your personal computer? Because doesn't your personal computer work? It's only your work lab computer that's got no sound, right? This game is not doing things for me. So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll pull up Medieval Madness. That's another one of those really popular games. LJ Monster Hunter Medieval Madness. There we go.
Welcome to my realm.
Yeah, so this is Medieval Madness. Oh, I should actually I wanted to look at help and options. No, I wanted to look at the history. I want to see how many of these they made. There you go. $4,016. So, like a highest acclaimed table of all time, and there are 4,016 of them, which I feel like tells you a lot. So didn't you get to the point where VPN sort of worked if you went through 2 VPNs, Brad? Or did that not continue to work? I haven't been around your streams this week, so I don't know. The reality is that before you do that, you should tell me which game I should stream on Monday.
Is like so gnarly. Chill out, dragon dude.
Fuck. Boom. So I don't understand why the dual system works differently than the single system. This doesn't make sense to me. Like, it made sense to me when you couldn't actually connect to a VPN endpoint from without being VPN'd into something. Like, I don't know, but none of this makes sense. Jose on Hell, welcome to the stream. Favorite retro console is probably the NES. It's definitely the thing I've played the most games on. Oh yeah, so of course I've been meeting my new team, and I've been like trying to explain to them like the things that I do as far as streams, and so like pulled up the game list that I've played and other stuff like that. I also pointed out, because of my whole rainbow shtick, like now oftentimes I'm basically streaming in drag, because I like to be a performer, and like, why not? Go ahead and get as much bonus as we can out of this. 9x bonus. Alright, okay. So where everything is flashing. So this is the problem. Another problem I have with Medieval Madness is that everything will end up flashing, and I'm just like, tell me what to fucking hit. Like, everything is always flashing. And I didn't even manage to hit the door there. I hit nothing. Congratulations.
Save me, hero dude.
Hero dude. I am not a hero dude.
I will reduce you to fresh toast.
I'm sorry, Jose. Are you watching on wireless or wired?
Hey, my men will destroy you.
Huh. 'Cause your wireless performance was reasonably good. To try different. What browser are you using? Are you using Chrome? If you're not using Chrome, use Chrome. If you are using Chrome, try your phone. But yeah, so NES is probably my favorite console. It's definitely the thing I've played the most games from. I think, I don't know. Okay, let's try and aim for the bowling ball. Hey, I got the bowling ball. Just by not doing anything. Henna Matt McKesson. Catapult multi-ball madness. So being in multi-ball madness when you've got trolls up is also kind of handy. So the trolls have to get hit a certain number of times, and just having extra balls around can be helpful for that, because there's like a time limit in which you can hit those trolls before they don't count anymore. So but the other thing about this game is also like the every shot you take is a fucking jackpot shot is kind of kind of get over it after a while. Oh, use Chrome on desktop and see how it feels. Yeah, I think that's fine. Unfortunately, I did not successfully attack the trolls in that case, but whatever. I think so. Just did henna in so henna can mean lots of things. So henna is you can do henna in your hair. So I have what, like Kristen, when we were, you know, sexing, dating, whatever, oftentimes did henna in her hair, and it made her hair more red. And then there's like the henna tattoos, which are a different thing. Yeah, platformers are definitely my favorite genre. Absolutely. Oh god. Don't die. Yes! Ball 2 locked. I will say one thing that frustrates me about the locks in this is that they don't feel like locks because the ball just goes right back into play. God damn it. Oh, so platform shoes. Okay, so like so when I was doing my you know, burlesque act tonight on stage, sensually taking off a shoe. So they asked for 3 volunteers from the crowd, and they didn't tell us what we were gonna do. There's like, you're gonna come up here and do a thing, and I'm like, okay. And so there were 3 of us, and there was me, and there was another woman, and whose name was, I forget, and there was another woman whose name was Ashley, and Ashley had on like 4-inch tall, I have done Curry's Adventure, yeah, 4-inch tall platform heels with a buckle, and we were both looking at this being like, I am so sorry, like for me, like slipping off my shoe was not hard. Like it's loose enough that I can pull my shoe off and it's okay. But for Ashley, you know, it ended up okay. She did really well. I'm very impressed. And then she managed to even like stand up with only 1 shoe on afterwards, but she was like walking back to the edge to wait for the announcement of the winner of the, you know, little meta competition. And she's walking and she's got like 1 foot is on 6-inch platforms and 1 shoe is not. And it was like, wow, like I am very impressed with your walking here. So I've worn high heels once. They were not platforms. And I wore them in Halloween of 2003, and I like tried to walk downstairs with them. It was definitely like a hold on to both sides of this stairwell type thing. So I was very impressed with her walking with just 1 platform shoe on. So, but yes, so get you a girl who can do both. She can both strip and walk with just 1 high heel on. 14 million, that's okay. It's not great, but I'll take it. Alright, so I think I'm out of beer, so I'm going to run and get some quick beer. I think I've probably played all of the good games on NES. Oh, 14 million. I was gonna say 28 million. It's the highest score ever, but no, it's not. It's not. It's different. Okay. Keyboard, you're trapped around my sock. There was a cupcake in the fridge. It's mini, but I'll take it. Okay, so first, Garden, run of the mill beer, not super special, but that is what I'm drinking. Oh, I forgot to do thing. Oh. Okay, so one. Oy. I've got new swag. Button. Who's got the button? I got the button. There we go. Okay, new swag. Google open source. Woo! All right, so this is the team I work on now. I work on the Google open source team. Okay, first open my beer because I got a bottle opener in my hand, and I can put that away. All right, you're good. Boom, done. And I got a whole bunch of swag, so I don't have all the things with me because I'm too whatever. But this is Diffie, the Kung Fu. What is it? Hold on, I gotta read his name. I always screwed up. This is the Kung Fu Review Cuckoo. This is Diffie. He is the mascot for Garrett, which is an open source code review tool that everyone should use because open source is good. There you go. I don't do dark beer. That's correct. I no stouts, no darks. I'm mostly wheats, whites, and other things like that. Does it have any flowy language on it? It might have some. A delicious and surprising, refreshing taste, naturally cloudy and brewed using a unique recipe of wheat, malted barley, and a subtle hint of coriander and orange peel. So I don't even have to make any shit up. I can just read it. Okay, so that's Diffie, the Kung Fu Review Cuckoo. So there you go. That's him. There you go, Diffie. And I got the shirt, which you saw. And this is our logo, is the, like this thing. It's got circles in it. Because it's like, I don't know, because that's what it has. But of course, my swag is not limited to just things that, you know, you might expect swag on, like t-shirts and mugs and carabiners and other things like that. No, I have a Google Open Source Projects Office blanket. So now I have a blanket, and I have just opened it now and not felt it before, but it is beautiful and fleecy and sexy. So I'm just reading what it says on the bottle. So yeah, so now I am covered in open source blanket, because that is clearly, like, when you think about like swag that a company gives out, the first thing that your mind goes to is definitely the blanket. Look at this, like it's got like fleecy like shit on the inside. Another nice thing is I actually have a 10,000 milliamp hour battery with a USB-C 2 amp output, which is definitely nice. You know, a good USB, you know, battery is not to be questioned. So close source that shit. Ninja Gaiden I've played. Yeah, I have played through Ninja Gaiden, which is a seriously hard game, but I have done it. So like I said, I'm pretty sure on NES, really the thing to look at is like N64. I've played almost no N64 games. I played Mario 64, Wave Race, and a couple other things like that. So maybe that's the thing to go for. So if you have any like N64 recommendations, those are definitely good to do. The other thing that I could do is I could do the SNES Battletoads. So Battletoads, I guess, is going to be coming out with a new game soon, which I did not know. We'll play some Black Knight 2000. Diffie. The Black Knight rides again in this brilliant sequel to the Steve Ritchie hit from 1980. Yeah, so Steve Ritchie and Pat Lawler are my two favorite pinball people. How do I have to push this button on this thing? There we go. Blah 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 blah. This game is all about speed and quick reactions, highlighted by features such as an upper lower level, repeating U-turn, and the Skyway Loop. A patented Magna Save feature from the original game is back. This allows players to activate a ball-saving magnet, preventing balls from draining. Great scores are achieved by lighting Lightning Wheel awards, scoring hurry-up bonuses. 5,703 units were made. Mischief Makers. That does not sound familiar to me, so maybe I haven't done that. Sounds good. Alright. So this is actually a very similar table layout to the original Black Knight table. Like, surprisingly similar. Like, surprising in the sense of this doesn't actually feel different. And I know it is, because I can definitely see, like, some minor differences, but the overall layout is very similar. The double play field, the particular way that you can shoot it back into the upper play field, and other things like that are all very, very similar. So it's interesting that they felt comfortable just making such a similar game a few years forward. So you're sad it's not a Snuggie. My daughter was very upset. She's like, I want a Snuggie. I'm like, why do you want a Snuggie instead of a blanket? She's like, I don't know, because it has sleeves. I'm like, you don't use blankets except when you're lying in bed. Like, you personally, not like nobody does, but you don't. And she's like, but I want a Snuggie. And I'm like, dude, you will never use it. And so we got her blanket. She's been happy with it, so whatever. This beer bottle is empty. And I didn't even eat my cupcake. I'm going to play one more ball, and then I'm going to eat my cupcake, so. Allowing AI to control your life is definitely a good plan. I recommend it. That's what I do with YouTube recommendations. I just watch whatever shows up my feed. Although today, like a YouTube Red movie, the Lily Singh, IA Superwoman II, is that Lily Singh? No, that's not right. But whatever. Her YouTube Red original movie showed up today, and I was like, this is 2 years old. I've watched very little else from this person and nothing recently. Like, I don't know exactly what it is that you've used to determine that I really care about a 2-year-old Red original movie at this point, especially given that I've watched almost none of the Red original movies, but whatever. Okay, I guess that's what you figured out about me. Good job, YouTube. There's that loop, that U-turn that was mentioned. Oh god. Something, it says, there we go. Double Knights Challenge. War equals million. Okay, so I know where war is. War is the aisles, or whatever they're called, between the top and the bottom floor, but I missed, so it doesn't matter. No! Fail. I do have one going again. But yeah, Jose, you missed earlier my description of how I became a burlesque performer earlier tonight. So and I really should become a burlesque performer in general. The only reason I'm not is really Jess. I mean, Jesus isn't really that great of a story. Like, Jesus' life, like, the dude has presence in the history books twice. Like, or in 2 different time periods. Once is, like, one story when he's 12, and then for, like, a year when he's out being a prophet from 32 to 33. Like, what kind of fucking story is that? I've been doing, like, public speaking and, like, evangelism to people for, I don't know, 12 years? 15 years? Like, and Jesus gets all the credit? Come on. Like, what? Just because you're the son of God? Like, fine. Whatever. I am champion. Cool. Like, overall, I just don't, you know, fine. You got lots of little stories in that 1 year you were out doing things before we decided to hang you on a cross and kill you. I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, his story has been being retold for 2,000 years since then, so clearly there's some cachet to it, truthfully or not. Gospels and their truth. Alright, cupcake, cheers to you, cupcake eaters. I don't think that was Jesus. I think that was some other book. But I did know that it is very important, according to the Bible, to hate immigrants. That was what Sarah Hannity fucking Sanders told us today. Huckabee, Hannity. I'm confusing Huckabee and Hannity. Let's play whatever this game is. 8-Ball Deluxe. Sounds good. Oh, fun fact about my new team. I sit right next to the pool table in the Cambridge office, which is nice. I suck at pool. I used to have a pool table in my basement, and I was actually much better at pool, I think, at one point than I am now. I definitely feel like I have my pool skills have atrophied in my not having one. But yeah, so Sarah Huckabee Sanders and the Trump administration. Fucking. So I don't know, like, I don't know, the whole. So policy of treating everyone crossing the border as crossing the border illegally, even if they're applying for asylum, and then separating parents from their minors and explicitly stating because it's intended to like make people not want to come here when many of these people are victims of violent gangs in other countries is like antithetical to the entirety of everything. It's really frustrating, and I don't know what the fuck to do. I mean, this is really like we're talking about agencies which lie to parents and tell them they're taking their children away for a shower and then like take them away forever and incarcerate them. We're talking about agencies which participate in the worst atrocities that we can think of within the history of America. Okay, maybe not. Andrew Jackson was pretty bad as well. But like pretty close to them, certainly in modern America, some of the worst things that we're dealing with in modern times. And I don't know what to do. Like, you know, the whole, you know, what would you do if you were, you know, living in Nazi Germany and everything else like that. And I've always said, I don't actually know, because it feels like a lot of people just did whatever they had to do to survive. But, you know, I'm not living on subsistence here. Like, I can do something, but what the fuck do I do? Do I show up, like buy a AK-47 and show up to these things and be like, I'm taking all these children? Because that doesn't feel like a good idea. And I don't like okay, vote, yeah, fine, but that doesn't, like, I don't know, the people of Nazi Germany vote too? It's a really fucking shitty situation, a really terrible situation, and I don't know what to do about it at a personal level, and it's very frustrating. This is actually the 3rd or 4th different like pool hall game I've played, which is interesting. Oh yeah, I like Sean Spicer compared to Sarah Huckabee Fucknuts. Like, she has no, like, Sean Spicer was doing a job. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not doing a job. She really enjoys what she does. Although I did hear she's gonna quit at the end of this year. That was the story earlier this week, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Am I supposed to be doing something? What am I supposed to be doing? Like, where's the sign-up sheet for like the revolution has started? I don't know. I don't see it, and I don't know what to do to make it happen. I am a privileged fucking dick, and I know it, but how do I deal with that? I don't know. Oh, I forgot. Okay, so the other act at the burlesque show, I just remember what it was. The other TED Talk at the burlesque show was on being biracial and how that, you know, affects your life. How you never feel like you can fit in anywhere. You constantly have imposter syndrome. How you can't, you know, you're not Vietnamese and you're not American in her case. Like, she's half Vietnamese, and so in America they're always like, oh, where are you from? And she's like, Boston. And she's like, oh, no, but where are you really from? And it's like, Boston. I was born here, you know, I've been raised here my entire life. Like, I'm from Boston. And she goes to Vietnam, and of course, because she speaks primarily English, and her Vietnamese is not nearly as good. Like, there's a thing there, and about code switching and everything else like that. So, I was kind of amused at like my like take on. So one of the things they said is TED Talks on any topic except for burlesque, and then you know, Honey Danger Eye, I don't remember what her name is. I remember her Muggle name and not her performer name. But she came in and gave a talk on you know, human sexuality and how it's progressed and stuff like that. And I was like, but isn't this burlesque? And then I realized that like the reason that I think that burlesque is about sexuality is because the performers that I have been seeing have been focusing on that, have been focusing on non-binary individuals, have been focusing on like you know, race and people of color as primary people in this. And I remember reading an article with Elsa Wright, who is the producer of this current show, who's talking about that like this is not the traditional burlesque tradition. And I was like, oh, but like every show that I see is very much about like centering you know, non-binary individuals and like queer individuals in the burlesque scene. And it took me realizing that like, oh right, I'm in Cambridge, and so like that's true here, but it's not true everywhere, which is interesting. But yes, my controller's busted or something. Okay, there we go. But yeah, Sean Spicer seemed like at least he knew the things he was saying were ridiculous. Sarah Huckabee Sanders she's just so fucking evil. I don't like this table. We're gonna play a different table next. Let's play whatever this one with the green lady with the boobs is. Fishtails! Oh, this is another one that's mentioned by the people from oh. Well. That's not great. What a boom. How likely are you to recommend this Windows 10 PC to your colleague? I like that it asked me that immediately after an app blue screens. Like, I don't know what process they use to decide when to send me that message, but there is not actually a worse time in effectively the entire usage of the computer that would have had to pop up. So, yeah, anyway, so I'm the Chris who plays games. I am now 3.5 drinks into the evening. If you have questions for me that you're like, I really want to know the answer to this, and I have never been willing to ask you before, now is the time to ask. Bring it up. I'm willing to have any conversation there is. I will not remember what's said in the morning. I will, but I won't really care. So if you're like, I want to know XYZ, like, bring it on. Right here. Time to go. 2,249 of these units. Yeah, so that's just like all of these things are like it's the most respected table ever, and it's like there's 8,000 of them. Like, it's just so hard for me to imagine. Like, some of this is just like physical things are so weird by comparison to non-physical things that I can't put that in my head. Oh, I crashed into the wall. Okay. Well, so, I mean, GNU, you're talking about, like, the GNU public license. So the GNU public license is really about the GNU and Apache are two different philosophies of licensing. So the primary philosophy behind GNU is that adoption does not matter. What matters is freedom. Freedom and freedom. So I don't know if you've ever seen, what's it called? Newsnight. So Newsnight kind of starts out in the first episode is Will McAvoy, the central character, being asked what, or three panelists on a panel being asked what makes America the best country in the world, and one of the panelists is like the Fox News type, and is like freedom and freedom, and the other person is like, you know, I don't know, opportunity and blah blah blah. And Will comes up and says, like, America's not the fucking best country in the world. We haven't been for a long time. We used to be for, you know, we fought wars for moral reasons. We tried to make things better for people, but we're just not the best country in the world anymore. Like, when you ask why are we the best country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? And so the GNU public license is really about what that, you know, Fox News lookalike is freedom and freedom. It's not about software, it's not about ease, it's not about anything else like that. It's about making sure that whoever is using a particular piece of software has the maximum amount of freedom. And that's the RMS, you know, thing in a nutshell. He's been pushing it since 1980 whatever. Is that he really believes that freedom is the most important part of software, not anything else. And that's what it comes down to. The Apache license is about making a balance between not freedom, but is about making a balance between accessibility and practicality. And so nothing about the GNU license is practical, but it is a thing. Why? There's a thing in the middle of my screen. Game, you have fucked your shit up. Ah! I put more money in accidentally. Oh god. I can't. I put a spell on you because you're mine. I put a spell on you and I can't stop the thing you do. I ain't lying. What the fuck? Ah! Alright, I'm just quitting and restarting. Try again. Are the film festivals in the US really the best? And I have never been to a rock show. I have been... cheers. Cheers. If you're drinking, drink another shot. I told the story, Brad, like while I was out there this weekend of, you know, of the quit talking and start talking. The Tony Chang story. Like so I don't remember, why did you mention Tony Chang that I was like, oh, like I know Tony Chang, or I met Tony Chang or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But yeah. I told someone about that. You always mention, you don't, because there's no way that you have mentioned Tony Chang. I've known you since, like, I literally, like, on August 29th of 2015, you and I were in a stream of blues together, and, like, that's, as far as I know, approximately the first time I met you, and, like, I have never heard you mention the name Tony Chang until a month ago. Like, never. So, I disagree. He came up for some reason when we were playing golf the other day. I was done with this game. I was trying to move on. I was trying to go for the race car game. So there's a couple of race car games, and one of them was interesting because if you've watched me play Epic Pinball, which is another DOS-based pinball game, it has a racing game, and I was interested because I think it's this one, maybe? Yeah, I think so. So this table is very clearly what, yeah, so the Epic Pinball has a table that is a, like, a high-speed driving one, and I realized very clearly that this is the table. And so I thought they were like, oh, there's all these tables that they made themselves, and they definitely made them themselves, if what you mean by made them themselves is copied another pinball table, but just closely enough so they don't have to worry about copyright infringement. This is definitely the Epic Pinball table that I have played. Maybe I'll switch to Epic Pinball and just show you how close this is. So, like, you've got the speed limits in the middle. You got the couple loops around the top. You've got a loop that shoots out, not straight up, but, you know, comes around to the left and enters into the play field. And yeah. Oh, so Mark, do you know Chris DeBona's name? Is that a name that's familiar to you? You've been doing software development for forever. You know everybody. I already asked you about Robert, who's one of my coworkers. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is one of the things I've realized about my new team is that because like Chris DeBona has worked at Google since 2004, and Christine, I don't remember her last name, has been working at Google since 2003, and like Lori Park, who was employee 29 at Google, works for the same director, and then Dan Brickley, who I worked with on semantic web stuff in 2003, and Ed Parsons, who was CTO of the Ordnance Survey in the UK back in, you know, before he joined Google, like 11 years ago. Like, all of these are names of people that work for the same director. And so it is certainly the case that there are a lot of people who just disappear into Google. But the people who work under DeBona are the people who mostly are still like more concretely directly connected to the world than anything else. So he runs the open source projects office, and we have a mandate of keeping open source sustainable, which means that we have to interact with the open source world, of course. And, you know, so there's a lot of things there. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about working for Google that I was scared of when I started. And I told the story. I went to Chris's for drinks on Tuesday, and I said when I started working at Google, I hated Google. I had no intention of working for Google. I worked at Google. I applied to Google so I could get an offer of a good salary here. But then going to Chris's, I heard stories, you know, from all these people who've been working at Google for a decade of, you know, how exactly did the buzz fuck up happen, or, you know, who killed Google Reader, or, you know, other things like that, that were interesting to hear from people who were there at the time and doing that. Oh, I guess I can take off my wrist bracelet that says I can drink. So I have a pink wrist bracelet that says I can drink. So there you go. It was actually interesting. There were some people at the show who were under 21, and there were some people at the show who were in their 60s and 70s. It was a really interesting mix of people. Alright, I was going to do Economic Pinball. You need one of those? Alright, so hold on. I'm going to try and find my keyboard. It's over here. I found it. Alright, step one. Done. I'm going to type the word DOSBox. That's good. Nope, that didn't do what I wanted. I wanted to type that and do that. Okay, cool. Mount C:/games C:, what? Mount C:/games. Oh, mount C:/games. I know you can't see what I'm doing. CD, Epic, ePin. Okay, that's fine. That sounds good. Epic Pinball, fine. Okay, Epic. Nope. Pinball. Okay. Now I can switch to 4x3 mode. This game is not shareware. Okay, so this game that I was just playing is a pinball game, and I'm pretty sure existed before this pinball game that I'm playing on DOS. And so I don't want to. Why is this silent? Stop being silent. Make noise. Okay. And so Android, I think, is a copy of Pinbot. Oh, the reason it's not making any noise is because my headphones aren't plugged in. Pinball. Crash and burn. It feels kind of slow, but whatever. Alright, so what do we got in the middle? We got, like, the little, like, list of light up things. We got the route around. Okay, so it's not quite as close as I thought. But I feel pretty confident at this point that this game was heavily inspired by the game I was just playing. Why are you so fucking slow? I thought, like, one of the F buttons and made the game faster, but... yeah, I want to quit. CRS. No. God damn it. No, the game, it's slow. I don't know why it's being so slow. It's not usually this slow. But control F12. Make it faster. Alright. So mount C:/C:/games, C:, C ePin, C epic, C pinball. There we go. Anything at E3? Unravel 2. Unravel 2 came out, and I am super excited, and that's definitely what we're going to be playing on Friday. That's one of the reasons I was asking what to play on Monday, is because I am super psyched about that. So that is definitely my most excited thing about that, and it's already out. Like, it's not like, oh, this will be out, you know, in the coming months, which is everyone's favorite month when you're coming from E3. But instead, it's a game that's already out, and it's and I'm super psyched about it. Beyond that, I was traveling, so I didn't pay a lot of attention to what was going on. So if there's something that you're like, oh, what do you think about this? Like, definitely list it. But for the most part, I was kind of like, you know, whatever. It's game companies being game companies, and nothing really stood out. So another thing about the reason why I think this game was based on that other one is the speed number there is another thing that pinball table I was on has, where it tracks your speed depending on how fast you go through a specific set of gates. So what's the thing? I don't understand this. Like, explain to me the Fortnite drama, because I've seen some things go by about Fortnite drama, and I don't get it. Fortnite's a terrible game. No, Fortnite's a fine game. I shouldn't hate a game just because of people who play it, which is everybody. Dead Man's Curve, lock ball. All right. Oh no, I didn't get it in. Go in. No. Oh, you failed. Yeah, so to get Dead Man's Curve, you have to hit a 240 miles per hour, which I did. Excellent. Ball 1 locked. Excellent. So people are upset that you can use it or can't? Like, doesn't being able to use it, isn't that a good thing? Oh. But you can't on Switch. So you can do a thing on PlayStation that you can't do on Switch? Why? That seems dumb. Oh no! Fuck. Oh, okay. I am CR... No, I'm not CRS. I'm CPG. I used to be CP at CRS. Fuck Sony. Hey Sony, I got a message for you. And what it means is more cowbell. See, this is more cowbell in Sony speak. Good. Yeah, I should maybe stop stream. It's late. I think I'm not gonna play any more games. So I'm gonna make this game be quiet. Hi. I'm Chris. I play games every Monday and Friday at 9:15. I love being the center of attention. I've worked in software development for 16 years, 15 years, 14 years, 14 years. Let's go with 14 years. I have a cool blanket. It says Google Open Source Projects Office on it. Upside down or right side up. And all the people who come to these streams make me happy. Because they make me feel like the center of attention. Even if they aren't a bunch of drunk people clapping at the fact that I'm on stage, they make me feel like the center of attention. So, it has been great to do this for 2.5 years. And I'm going to continue doing it for a while yet. And I hope that you continue to do it. The least sexy manner possible. So the problem is, so the biggest thing that I have with this new space is that I have no space. Like, if I was upstairs, I would have the daybed, and I could show you some of my routine. Although, honestly, it was very much an in-the-moment thing. I was just, you know... I was supposed to do, like, what's a death drop? Vogue? Okay, here. I guess this is what I was supposed to have done. So I'm gonna pull up to Chrome. That's not Chrome. Do the other Chrome. Hold on. Sorry. I have to make Chrome do a thing. Oh, I don't have Chrome open. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna Chromify. All right. This is a Death Drop compilation. Short Death Drop compilation. Oh, okay. So I guess a Death Drop is like when you go to the floor. Ooh, that's very loud. Sorry. Okay, so I can see how I did that. That was what three of the people who have seen a lot of like one of the performers and the stage kitten both told me that I did a death drop, and I was like, I don't know what a death drop is, and they were like, go look it up on YouTube, and so I did a death drop. Why, like, dude, I don't need you fucking talking to me to learn how to death drop. Like, what I need is you doing the did that not? Oh, I'm in the wrong browser again. Get out of here, you fucker. Yeah, look, this guy talking to you for 2.5 minutes with like 7 seconds of interspersed footage. But yeah, so apparently I did a death drop when I was on stage, so. Anyway, alright, back to me. Yeah. Any other things you want to know? Any things that you don't feel like you're getting from me? No, it's fine. I don't know. I like being the center of attention, and I don't want to play games anymore because I'm feeling kind of blech. I can Google things for free. I think everyone can Google things for free. It's pretty sure. Oh, I did do that. That was the thing I did. Okay, I'm gonna flip back to this real quick. Chrome. It was not that. It's the thing that I just saw. Yeah. Oh, Chrome. Why are you not chroming? Ugh. Nothing is good. Oh, that's its game and not Chrome because I can't read a button on my thing. Okay. Yeah, it's Death Drop. Boom. Yeah, I definitely did that, but with a little bit less fucking up. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the Chinese can too. Yes, she did it. She clearly failed because she had a bounce to it. You've really you gotta manage it. I mean, she's tried a couple times, it looks like. The key thing about the death drop is to just make it. See, that wasn't great either, because you don't want your head to hit the floor. Come on. No. Why are you so bad at this? This isn't actually that hard. Like, why does all of her death drops look... Okay, so I guess the fact that I was like, anyone can do a death drop, but apparently, like, this woman cannot. So, clearly my evidence here is biased. Wow, this person is... this is not what I expected to see. Yeah, that's not great either. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. I've streamed. I did some stuff. I'm going to hang out and watch some videos in the lounge. Maybe, if it works. So, go to this URL and try and watch some videos with me. I'm done streaming for the night. I'll be back on Monday playing something on the N64. You told me a thing, Brad. Remind me of what that was in the lounge, and I'll copy-paste it. It's been lovely hanging out. Thank you, everyone who came by. And I'll be back with retro games on Monday. Mischief Makers. There you go. So I'll be back with Monday with some Mischief Makers. Thank you all for hanging out and come by on a Friday night. I'll see you on Monday. And then I'm gone to VidCon at the end of the week. So come with your VidCon requests and I will do that. Take care. Bye-bye. Mwah.